Hey there, this is CUSD Math 7, Unit 5, Lesson 14, called Solving Problems with Rational Numbers. The first one here is, again, part of your cool down, but let's read through it together real quick, and then you'll be able to solve it on your own. It says, Lynn's sister has a checking account. If the account's balance ever falls below zero, the bank charges her a fee of $5.95 per day. So if she ever runs out of money in her account, they're going to charge her that much every day. Today, the balance in Lynn's sister account is negative $267. So is that below zero? Yes, it is, which means they're going to start charging her money. If she does not make any deposits or withdrawals, what will be the balance in her account after 2 days? So this is a great question here. After 2 days, we want to say what's her balance going to be. Keep in mind when you're doing this, a couple things. You're starting at negative $2.67. That's where you're starting at. Then we have this fee. We have the $5.95 a day, and that's happening for a total of 2 days. Whatever that ends up being, 2 days, we have to include that with this one. That's going to be two sets of negative numbers. We should get a pretty big amount. Just as an estimate real quick, this is not the solution. If this is about $6 and I do that twice, that's about $12, and I am already in the hole by 2, I should have something around $14, is a negative $14 is an estimate for an answer there. I'll let you again solve that on your own. In 14 days, Lynn's sister will be paid $430. Wow, okay. And we'll deposit it in her checking account. If there are no other transactions besides this deposit and the daily fee, will Lynn continue to be charged $5.95 each day after this deposit is made? Now remember, she's only charged this if she is below zero. So the question is, if you start at negative $2.67 and you have to pay basically a negative $5.95 a day for 14 days, and then you have to add that to what's there, whatever this is going to be, if you take this, will this amount, when you add it to 430, will that be greater than zero? Okay, so again, she's starting there, she's going to lose money, this much, about $6 for 14 days in a row. Whatever that is becomes her new balance. And then if she puts a deposit of 430 in, does a new balance plus the 430 give her a net balance that's greater than zero? And that's what you're trying to figure out there. Hope that makes sense a little bit. If not, read it again and can maybe play back the video and listen again and see if it makes sense a second time. We'll move on to number 2. A meteorologist measures the change in temperature in Nome, Alaska. At the beginning of collecting this data, the temperature is 4 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature decreases 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit each hour. So write an expression that can be used to find the temperature in 8 hours. Okay? So we know that for the temperature, I don't write temperature. An expression's not going to have an equal sign, so I can just write it like this. We're going to start at 4. That's where we began. And it is going to have a change. But that change, we're going to add to it, is going to be, in our case, a decrease. And we can write that as negative 1.8. That's our rate of decrease for each hour. And we can write H for hour right there. Okay, so 4 is our starting temperature. This becomes our rate, our change. And this becomes our variable we're working with, the hour. Okay, and that's an expression we could use to figure out the temperature. Now when it says what is a temperature in 8 hours, well, now we have a number we can put into there and we can solve that. So you'll want to go ahead and put that number in this thing and actually get a solution here that you can write on part B. Number 3. Priya has $1,092 in her checking account. She makes 4 payments of $17.95 to a book club she belongs to. Okay, so payment's going to be a negative amount because you're taking money out of your account. And then she makes 1 payment of $59 on her internet. how much does she have in her account after those 5 payments? So 4, 5, right? So what we have here is we have a starting amount, 1,092, and then we're going to subtract. What are we going to subtract? We're going to subtract this. We know that she's going to make 4 payments of negative 1,795. Okay, so we're going to subtract that amount. We know that. And then, or we're going to add it, I should say. We can add it. So we're going to add that to her account, which is going to be a negative. And the next transaction is going to be another payment of a negative $59. Okay, and so that's the part you'll do. Do this part first, and then go ahead and add those all together to see how much she has in her account. B says she gets paid the following day for babysitting and deposits 3 checks for $35 into her account. Now notice, this is a deposit. A deposit is going to be positive, and she has 3 checks for $35 in her account. So that's going to be a positive amount, right? So we're going to start from this answer. So use this answer, whatever the answer is going to be, use it here. And that answer, we're going to add to it 3 times 35, and it's positive. And then it says, but she withdraws 50. And then she's going to do what? She's going to take out 50. And then we're going to find her balance now. Okay? So to solve this one, though, we have to get A correct and move it over to here to figure that out. Number 4. A music store marks up the instruments and sells it by 40%. All right. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, a markup means that you take the original price, which is like 100%, okay, and then we're going to add to it 40% of the original price. That becomes what a markup is. So a markup is 100% of what they buy it for plus 40% of what you started with. That becomes the markup. So in total, it's 140% is what a markup's going to be. Does that make sense? So a markup is 140% of the original price, whatever it costs to buy it. And 140% is decimal. Move it over 2 spots. Becomes what? 1.4. Okay. So let's look at how this works here for part A. If a store bought a guitar for $75, what will the markup price be? Okay, so we're talking about something that costs $75, and that's our original price, $75, and we're going to multiply it by 1.4. And again, the reason it's 1.4 is it's 100%, that's a 75, plus 40% of that. Okay, so 75 times 1.4 is going to be equal to $105. Now, could you break this apart into a different way? Sure. You could have said we want to do 40% of 75, which is 0.40 times 75, which equals 30. And then you want to take your 30 and add it back to your original price of 75. And when you do that, you have 105. So that's another way you might have gone about solving it. Okay? B, if the price of tag on a French horn reads $149.80, how much did the store originally pay? Okay. So with this case, we don't know what the original price was. Think back over here. We have the original times the markup rate equals the total. In this problem, we don't know the original. Okay, that's our X, but we know it's still marked up by 40%. So we're going to figure out what 1.4, what the 140% is going to be. That's going to equal 149.80. Okay, so doing this then, we can solve by dividing both sides by 1.4, and that will tell us the original cost right there. So do this part and see what you get. And finally, part C. If the store paid $155 for a clarinet and sold it for $200, did the store mark it up by 40%? Okay, so the question is, If I do the original price, 155, and I multiply it by our markup rate, okay, what do I get? Well, 155 times 1.4 is equal to $217. So if it's a 40% markup, I should be selling it for $217. They're only selling it for $200. So did they do a 40% markup? We would say no. And why? Because 40% is greater than the $200 that they're selling it for there. All right, that's it for today. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.